It's been a bit of a wait, but we are finally here at day 1 of the 5th Custom Mail-In Tournament. Hello everyone and welcome. To start this tournament off, we will introduce Agents of Moo, Lincoln Parker, Chuck, and Scale Racing. And the tournament has officially begun. Scale Racing started off with a slight lead, but Lincoln Parker pulls ahead. And you will get to see how this track is laid out as these racers test it. There goes Lincoln Parker taking a bit of a lead. Scale Racing not too far behind. Lanes merge together. Lincoln Parker goes down the ramp, over the gap, and across towards the finish line. Scale Racing also made the jump, but didn't control the landing as well. Meanwhile, we have two people it looks like that are not going to finish. Now, if you recall correctly, in a previous custom tournament, we had an obstacle that was a bit of a hump of sorts that really changed things up, threw a wrench into things for a lot of racers, and I'm sure the same can be done for these waterfall-looking ramps. Just because you're in the lead doesn't mean you'll stay there, and that jump right there will likely make a world of difference. There probably are going to be a few non-finishes as well, simply because somebody would not be able to make that jump. But we will see. But for now, Lincoln Parker has that first win, setting the time at 11.30. Now let's see how everyone does now that they're a little bit more familiar with the track. Now Lincoln Parker starts off with the lead. Will he be able to hold on to it this time? As the lanes split up, it looks like he's just slightly ahead of Scale. And that is the case for now. They both make the jump. Scale Racing this time had a better handle on the landing. And he almost managed to get the win. But unfortunately for them, it looks like Lincoln Parker still got it. Scale Racing definitely had an opportunity to pass up Lincoln Parker around that final bend, but ended up bumping into the back of him, allowing Lincoln Parker to get some of that momentum. So Lincoln Parker has 2 wins under their belt now. And because this is a larger scale custom tournament, the top 2 in each group will move on, and not just one. So even if you're in second place, you still have a chance. Race number 3 begins, and it is now Scale Racing who has the lead. The lane split up. Scale Racing actually lost the lead. Lincoln Parker now is back out in front. They're heading towards that jump now. Are they both going to be able to make it again? They do, and history almost repeats itself. Scale Racing was able to find his way around Lincoln Parker this time and grab the win. Meanwhile, Lincoln Parker did not even finish. There were still 2 finishers here, but Lincoln was not one of them. It looks like it was Chuck who finished this time around. If you have good control on that ramp, then you should be fine. But look at Lincoln Parker grinding the side of that track. That cannot be painless. But 11.30 is still the fastest time as of now. Lincoln Parker is not in the lead in points anymore, but he's still in a good position to stay in second and move on, if nothing else. Right now in this 4th and final race, they're just about even between Lincoln Parker and Scale. Lincoln Parker has a bit of a lead again, going around the turn, heading towards the jump. Can he stay in control this time? He definitely did for a little bit, started spinning around, but he managed to stay in front. So that's 3 wins for Lincoln Parker, 1 for Scale, and a few finishes for Chuck. I want to say everybody finished at least once, but I could be wrong. But look at these two staring each other down as they approach the finish line, one going forwards, one going backwards. I'm sure there's going to be a few of those as people get spun out as they land. But Chuck and Agents of Moo, their journey ends quickly. Now for our second group. Bobby, Atomic Pam, Zizzer Prime, and J-Bo. If you're seeing any familiar faces, it's likely because some of these racers you've probably already seen in drag race tournament that's also going on simultaneously with this one. And look at who has the lead right now. I think that's J-Bo. A beautiful jump by at least two of the racers. I think all four made it across, but one of them flipped over on their side and did not make it around that final bend, and someone was stuck even behind them. In fact, both of them finished upside down. Well, finished being the operative word, but you get what I mean. Definitely not the way you want to start your tournament experience. In fact, one of them did a cartwheel as they clipped the edge of the ramp as they were going through that jump. Well, we have two finishers here, and they were J-Bo and Bobby. Scissor Prime and Atomic Pam have some work to do. Here we go, second race begins. They're all relatively close, but J-Bo and Bobby are starting to pull away a bit. Pam and Scissor are trying to catch up to them right now, and it looks like they're catching up to Bobby at least. But J-Bo has a bigger lead now, and they head towards the jump. They do not stick the landing, they go over the side. Bobby has this opportunity to get first place and does. Everyone else finished that time, but J-Bo was not so lucky. Take a look at this jump again. It looked like he was doing okay, but as he got down to the bottom of the ramp, he started to veer off a little bit, and that cost him a finish, along with any points that would have gone along with it. See what I mean? Just because you finish first once doesn't mean you will every time. But those 5 points could end up saving him in the end. The third race begins. J-Bo is starting with a slightly early lead. Bobby not too far behind him, along with Scissor. And as the lane split, who has the lead? It looked like Scissor did for just a moment, but just as quickly as it came, it was lost. And now J-Bo has the lead again, looking to make that jump, and definitely does this time, but flips upside down. Scissor finds his way around him and gets a clear-cut win. In fact, I think they'll be the only person to finish. It's entirely possible that J-Bo saw his competitors coming up behind him and saw that he wasn't going to be able to finish, so he decided to become an obstacle. But that was a clean evasion by Scissor. It looked like he actually spun around to dodge him. That is some of the most expertise driving I've ever seen. But this could be a lucky break for Scissor. Things were looking good for J-Bo at the beginning, but now he is in a bad position. Falling back into third in points, I think. He has great speed, but does he have good control? This last race is his last hope to be able to get through to the next round. Here he goes across the jump, grinds the side a little bit, but stays on his feet. But here comes everybody else. Bobby pushing him. And it looks like J-Bo's trying to do a nose block and does it successfully. Everybody does finish, though. We'll see how those points are arranged. And will it be enough for J-Bo? Let's take a look one more time. It was J-Bo who put everything he had into that final race. Was it enough? It might be. He has a tiebreaker with Scissor Prime. Bobby is automatically moving on. Now it's just a matter of who will join them. This could be one of those times where it's just the fastest time between two races, or a 2 out of 3, but we will see. For now, it's just a one-on-one race between J-Bo and Scissor. For now, J-Bo has that lead, but we've seen how quickly he can lose it. Launches himself across that jump and goes straight towards the finish line like a rocket. Meanwhile, Scissor Prime does not clear that jump as smoothly, if at all. A great jump by him, but the nose of Scissor Prime's vehicle clipped the ramp as they were landing, causing them to flip over the side. And now for race number 2, J-Bo has the lead again, and it's slowly beginning to extend. Here they go towards another long stretch. J-Bo's lead seems to be getting bigger as the race progresses. This jump could decide it all right here. and they land and start going backwards, but they're on their feet. Zizzer Prime is trying to get back up there, but starts skidding themselves, and they do not finish at all, actually. Jabo had a very close call with this group and this one-on-one with Zizzer Prime, but I believe this will mean Jabo is going to move on to the final round of today. And they will. Definitely a nail-biter for Jabo. They're definitely going to have to be more careful going across that jump. But now for the final round between Bobby, Lincoln Parker, Scale Racing, and Jabo. Lincoln Parker currently holds the fastest time of 11.30. Let's see if he or anybody else in this group can top it. Right now, Lincoln Parker has that lead once again, but now has some more competition. Going across the ramp, they're neck and neck with Bobby, but Lincoln Parker had a much better landing, and they are keeping up their speed to get the first victory. Alongside Scale, Bobby almost finished in third, but I think Jabo was able to finish just mere millimeters, maybe, in front of them. This is definitely going to be a little bit closer, especially when we start narrowing down who some of the faster racers are. Lincoln Park has the first win. They just need 2 more to move on automatically. And here we go, race number 2. Everybody needs to stay on their toes, or wheels in this case. Jabo currently has second place ahead of Scale, but now it looks like they're a little bit more neck and neck as Lincoln Parker takes a lead in front of both of them, heads for the jump, very clean landing, bumps into the side but doesn't lose that much speed at all. But Jabo almost actually managed to get the lead from them at the last moment. Couldn't quite do it though. But that second place finish is definitely going to help them. Will it be enough in the end? Still not quite the fastest time, but pretty close. Now Lincoln Parker only needs 1 more win, and it'll be a fight for second place after that. Here we go, race number 3. Lincoln Parker is pulling away. In fact, here comes Scale pulling in front of him. And do they still have the lead? It looks like it's pretty close for the moment. In fact, they are side by side as they go across that jump. Lincoln Parker has a smoother landing, but then he flips over, causing both him and Scale to stop completely. Meanwhile, Bobby sneaks in ahead in front of Jabo. Considering how these races have gone, I'm not entirely sure who's moving on and who isn't. I think there's still 1 more race after this, so we will see. I believe this is the second time this happened to Lincoln Parker. But he's definitely had a couple of hiccups after going across that jump. Sometimes these racers have landed well, but then they aren't orienting themselves fast enough to stay straight once they get back on the track and keep going. But the points are a lot closer now, so I believe this is still anybody's game. The top 2 will move on. So far it is Lincoln Parker and Scale, but we'll see if that changes as they get to that ramp. They make the jump, but Lincoln Parker is on his side. But that being said, Scale Racing actually flips him back over. But unfortunately, Lincoln Parker could not get the speed back that he needed, and Bobby pulls ahead out of nowhere, and he grabs the win. I believe this means Lincoln Parker and Bobby will be moving on. Jabo in particular definitely put up a fight and had to fight tooth and nail just to get to this spot. He almost had it, but that jump was just a killer for them. And it is Lincoln Parker moving on alongside Bobby. So here's the first 2 racers advancing to the next round. Thank you all so much for watching. See you later.